This is KBYE, 890 AM.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and a happy good evening to you wherever you are. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by Rainbow, and Rainbow is good bread. We are back in the studio here, KBYE Radio in Oklahoma City. Now, many of you are coming to that big Clara Luper dinner tonight. It's called the Freedom Fiesta Special. The dinner will be at 7 p.m. Now, make sure you set your watches. It will be at 7 p.m. at the Jimmy Stewart's Building, 1500 North East 4th Street. That's the big dinner tonight. The dinner is commemorating the beginning of the sit-in movement, which started in Oklahoma City in August of 1958. You are expected to be present, and we will be talking about the dinner later on in our show. Burger Brothers is located at 412 South Harvey Street here in Oklahoma City. They are noted for their groceries and meat that actually cost less. We call it everyday low prices today. Plus, there are weekend specials, fresh vegetables and fruits, all at Burger Brothers, 412 South Harvey Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. If you want to play bingo, let me tell you where you can go and play. That's the Economy Bingo House, 3613 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City. Mr. George Singer would like to extend to each one of you an invitation to come and play bingo tonight. Play bingo where your money counts. Spend your money in your own town. The Economy Bingo House is 3613 North Everett Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Mr. George Singer, a supporter of everything that's good for the state of Oklahoma. Rosie's Restaurant is located at 217 Northwest 23rd Street. The telephone number is 521-9316. If you want some good soul food, that soul food just like grandmother used to fix, be sure and remember Rosie's Restaurant, 217 Northwest 23rd Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The Watkins Stevens Skyview Convalescent Nursing Home, located at 2200 Coltrane Road. The telephone number is 427-1322. The Watkins Stevens Skyview Convalescent Nursing Home is a home with a hot food cart. Mrs. Betty R. Lynch is the administrator. Mrs. Bug is the director of nursing. Yes, this is the Clara Luper Radio Special. And in the next hour and a few minutes, I will be seeing you at the big dinner. Now, this dinner is unusual. I went home after the parade and the bread had arrived, and we have enough bread to feed the flock. I'm telling you, Dolly Hall had walked in with her bread. Those of you that don't know where to take your dinners, now, your food, take it to 1500 Northeast 4th Street. Now, don't take it until I get off the air. Now, be sure and remember now that deliver the food. You may start delivering it by 6 o'clock. Some of the people will be there, but I will not be there until we go off the air. My telephone here is 478-2103, and let the people speak. Let the people speak about the largest carcade that has been held in Oklahoma City. The cars extended from Midwest City Boulevard and Southeast 29th Street down to Northeast 23rd and Midwest Boulevard, down from 23rd Street and 23rd and Midwest Boulevard, back to 23rd and Martin Luther King, and from Martin Luther King to Douglas High School, 900 North Klein here in Oklahoma City. We would like certainly to congratulate each one of you that participated in the parade today. You did what people thought could not be done. You proved to this nation and to the world that you believe in the Constitution of the United States, which calls for protest. You have that right under the Constitution of the United States of America. You proved it. The speeches there were out of sight. Just to once again hear Lana Pogue, Glendale Brown, Marilyn Hildred, the sit-inners, representing the sit-inners. Just to hear the president of the Anadarko branch of NACP, the president of the Enid branch of NACP, the president of the McAllister branch of NACP, the president of the El Reno branch of NACP. Yes, they were there. They were there. This is the Clara Luper radio show, and I want you, the people, to call me and let me know what you thought of the march, and let me know how you feel about that big dinner that will come up tonight at 7 o'clock. This is the Clara Luper radio show.
Letty?
Yes, Mrs. Luper, how are you doing?
Oh, wonderful. This is my day, and I would like to congratulate you on your day, Nancy Lynn's day, and Lillian Oliver's day yesterday. Tell me all about it.
Well, on yesterday we did have a wonderful day because on last night we had a fashion show that at 2609 there on the green. We had a wonderful audience, and we have some wonderful models. They model the most modernistic clothes that will be for the fall. And if you were not there to see the fashion show, you really missed a treat. Not only did we have wonderful fashions, we also had wonderful talent numbers. We had a wonderful poem that was given to us by Nate Patterson, a solo by Alicia Hildreth, and a reading by Shelley Luper. And our models were just outstanding. They gave you the new styles, the new style lengths, and also the fall colors. And we had a terrific audience, and we had a wonderful refreshments was served, and also we gave out some wonderful door prizes. And I want to again thank my co-workers that worked with me, and Mrs. Tyler for bringing the wonderful refreshments.
Who brought the refreshments last night? They were delicious.
Mrs. and Mrs. Davis brought the refreshments, and just think, the drink was just icy cold. It just slits of ice all through it. And I said, boy, this drink is good, because you just get them little sips of ice as you would drink this good old punch, and it was just most delicious.
But one thing for sure, if my friends don't bring us something to drink tonight, at the dinner we will be drinking that good old water. So you had somebody to bring you.
No one's going to turn down H2O, Mrs. Luper, because that's one of the best drinks in the state, the H2O. We'll have plenty of H2O, and it will be cold.
Plenty of water. But last night you had punch.
That's true. We had punch on last night.
I don't believe...
You not supposed to try to compare or copy with me. Just give them H2O with the dinner, because they're going to need plenty of cold water to drink for dinner.
Oh, I think they need some tea and some punch. Well, we'll see what's going to happen before we leave off the air. The telephone number is 478-2103.
But before you leave, Ms. Luper, I want to talk about today's program, today's parade. I'm telling you.
I just told the audience that cars were backed up from 900 North Martin Luther King Avenue all the way to southeast to 29th and Midwest Boulevard by way of 23rd Street.
Well, you are exactly right, because, I've never have I seen so many cars in my life as I saw today in a caravan. It was just like when we were in New Orleans and saw those lakes and lakes of people. As far east as I could see, I didn't see anything but cars, cars, cars. And as far west as I could look, I saw cars, cars, cars. So I said, my goodness, I wonder how many people. It was surprising, and it was alarming at the number of people that were there. I know the media was surprised to see all of those cars and all the media, and I know the policemen got tired.
Well, one thing for sure, we had not gotten the proper coverage that we should have had. We sent all of our announcements to all of the local newspapers, radio stations, and TV stations. But even in one of our local papers, namely the Black Chronicle, the story was not carried as a huge story.
Well, Mrs. Luper, I don't know what you were expecting of the society, but I didn't expect them to put that in the paper.
Well, I expected Russell Perry to headline that, because Russell Perry is a black man, and he must realize that we all came on the same boat.
Well, sometimes, we forget how we got over. We forgot how we got over. That bridge that was built, and we crossed over it, we forgot that it was a bridge built for us to cross over. And what we do not know, that one day we're going to have to come back across that same bridge. So now I didn't expect it personally, and my personal opinion and my personal thoughts. I did not expect it to be in the paper.
I expected it from the Daily Oklahoman, because they cover everything else. If we had been down there fighting today, or we were planning a big fight, it's really interesting, they would have covered it, and I am still disappointed. I shall let my disappointment be known.
But now, Ms. Luper, I'm wondering about our society, because, now don't quote me, and I'm not saying I'm quoting this quite correctly, but I was reading something in the paper that went kind of like this: vice is right. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I saw that story concerning one of the figures of the Watergate that's making millions of dollars off of his story where he actually did wrong. But the point that I'm going to make, I was very disappointed because my senator was not present, the Honorable Senator Vicky Miles LaGrange.
Well, I thought, really and truly, I feel that if our representatives, when I'm saying representatives, I mean
now, my representative was there. My representative was there. Mrs. Hunter, my representative was there. Representative Cox was there, and he participated in the march. Now, where was your representative?
Well, I'll admit that Freddie was not there, but I'm not talking about representative as a representative and a senator. I'm talking about our elected officials, those people who are representing us. This is what I'm saying. I feel that when we have a problem, when we are in a crisis, this is why we elect them to help us when we are in a crisis. And I feel this is a crisis.
Well, our councilman was not there. They told us that he said that was not his bag of tea.
Well, I don't know why he was not there, but, as I told you, we got to wait until we come back across this bridge to find out it's not there anymore. It's just like shoes on your feet that's hurting your toes. They're only hurting your toes now, Clara, but they have to be on my foot to hurt my toes to realize that shoes can hurt feet.
The singing out in God's great arena was beautiful, and I would like for you to tell our audience about the speakers that were there.
Oh, Mr. Luper, the speakers, we had young speakers, old speakers, middle-aged speakers, and aged speakers, and I feel the best speech that was made by a 13 or 14-year-old girl. A 14-year-old girl. If they missed that speech, I hope that someone had taped that speech that was made by that.
Oh, you just prejudiced for children. You always are. And certainly, I want you to know, now there were some great speeches out there. I certainly enjoyed the speech by Reverend Parker, by
made a good speech.
Reverend Carroll, Reverend Mays,
Reverend Mays made a good
Reverend
speech.
Strong,
Reverend Strong made a good
Senator
speech.
Porter.
Senator Porter made a
Okay.
Cecil Williams made a good speech. Senator Porter made a good speech.
President Carter
made a good speech. And Shelley Luper, the young girl that I'm talking about, Marilyn made a good speech, but Shelley Luper, the girl that I'm talking about, made an outstanding speech. And just think, it was the mind of a young girl.
Okay.
Yeah. That can see the light.
All right, you were at the march today. You made an appeal on this radio station some time ago about the march. Were you satisfied with the crowd?
I was definitely satisfied. Definitely. I was more than satisfied because I felt that those supporters were there, was really sincere, dedicated, and they were enthusiastic about what they were doing.
Well, I was certainly proud, but there was one spot that is very difficult to feel. I missed Reverend W.K. Jackson, and what is a march without Reverend W.K. Jackson? I missed him from that march. I missed his voice, and I know something must have happened that he was not there. But the ministers were there. Reverend Rogers, Reverend Overstreet, the ministers were there.
Well,
We had more ministers.
People there, I can't stop to enumerate them, and I definitely didn't see them all.
Well, there were so many ministers there until you could not believe it. You remember we made an appeal, the ministers were there, and what can you say about Ira D. Hall?
I'm telling you, he was there. I'm telling you, Mr. Hall was there. And then if Mr. Hall can get there, you know, but others didn't have an excuse. Those who wanted to be there and was not there, you had no excuse because Mr. Hall was there. And we, not only did we have car loads, van loads, truck loads, but we had bus loads of people. And I'm talking about a big bus, like a big Greyhound bus, full of people.
Well, I'm just so happy that I was there. And when that crowd began to sing and to hear the melodious voice of Marva and others singing, "Oh, when the saints go marching in," that was just beautiful.
I thought it was very, very beautiful. And, you know, the dedication, there was some man just got a truck and put his piano on this truck and brought that out there so we could have music. I said, now, these people are really sincere. They really are.
Well, those people that were there and looking at Tinker Field, I think that was really something that was unbelievable. I know that the general will be calling us this week saying that, okay, the Cold War is over and we are going to allow you to select your representatives and we are going to select ours and we need to meet at the negotiation table.
And, you know, Luper, to me, talk is so easy. That's the easiest thing. It doesn't cost anything. Just to have people to come in and sit down at the table and talk.
Well, I think today in the crowd, I heard people murmuring, and I heard people thinking that unless we talk to the general, this whole community is going to suffer. They were talking like they were not going out in the Midwest City area to do their shopping, and that would be a tragedy with all of the friends that we have out there, that because of one man, and that's the general, that we will have to stay away from the Midwest City area.
But, you know, I do not believe, I really do not believe that we can sit idly by in times like these. As we pick up our papers and we read all of the vice that's going on in the paper, we wonder why. Do we ask ourselves the question, am I the problem? Or do we ask ourselves the question, what have I done to alleviate the problem, to curtail the problem? Am I the problem? Have we asked ourselves those questions?
Well, we have to ask ourselves those questions, and we also have to ask ourselves, are you supporting the dinner? Now, many of you have called me and told me you didn't have $20. Great. You send something to help. You were not there today, many of you, but there were thousands of you that were there. You showed your support, and we are very, very grateful. Let's talk about the dinner tonight. Have you ever in your life heard of the kind of dinner we are having tonight?
Now, Ms. Luper, anytime that you have something, you can sure bet it's something that has never hit the history book. So the dinner that you're having tonight is a kind of dinner that's never been written in a history book. So I'm sure this dinner tonight is going to make history.
Well, I want to know one thing. There are some people that are coming because they say you're the cobbler queen.
That's right. I got my cobbler in the stove.
Now, what kind of cobbler do you have?
Well, I'm making an apple cobbler this time, Mrs. Luper.
An apple cobbler.
Fresh apples right off of my tree. So I'm making the apple, and I'm opening the oven, and I'm looking in this pie. Ooh, goodness gracious. Look at that bubbling round pie. Let me take it out of the oven and get ready to take it down to the Stewart's building for dinner tonight. And if you're not there to eat from my apple pie tonight, you really will have missed a treat.
You haven't seen anything. My husband has fried 5 chickens, 5 fries.
You know what?
And he is the king.
He is the best chicken and fish fryer. I sometimes myself will go in business if I can just get your husband to be the cook.
Well, you can't get my husband to be the fry cook because he's retired and he's going to travel. In fact, he's getting ready to go to that big fight out in Las Vegas. I would like for you, before you leave the air, to invite all of your friends out to the dinner tonight.
Well, I want to mention it to all my friends. If you have not heard about the dinner, I'm telling you about the dinner now. I'm telling you the dinner is going to be at 7 o'clock this afternoon. It's at Stewart's Building, and I'm inviting you to come down to the Stewart's Building for the dinner. And if you do not know where the Stewart Building is, it's the 1500 block on 4th Street.
That's northeast of 4th Street.
It is northeast 4th Street. So come on down and witness this unusual dinner.
One thing I didn't like about the parade today, we didn't have enough white people. Now, it's one thing for certain. This white community has to be sensitive to the needs of the total community. You tell me that the blacks represent a minority. Let me speak back to you and say to you that a minority of your body can send you to the dentist. For example, a toothache can send you to the dentist. And until this white community realizes that we are all in the same boat. Now, I don't ever want to see a parade with that few white people in it.
Well, let me thank the few that came. I want to thank the few that came because I'm just, I believe in the saying that Jesus said. He said, where one or two or three of you assemble, what did he say? He would be there in the midst. So I'm just thankful for those few that were there in the midst.
Okay, I'm thankful, but I'm also calling upon this white community. When they are running for an office, they come over here, set up headquarters, and labor. I would like to speak to the white labor people. I saw the black labor people, but I didn't see the white labor people. Nor did I see the right to work people and the right to run people. I didn't see. This white community must take on a different image as it relates to black people. It's a disgrace that we have white people that know that racial discrimination exists, because many of them have told us, yet when it came time to march, they were invisible. The invisible white people that failed to participate in the parade today. I had to say that. Now, I know some of my white friends are coming to the dinner tonight, and if you don't come to the dinner tonight, I can understand that, but I couldn't understand your absence today.
Well, Mrs. Luper, we'll finally come to understand. We'll finally come to understand.
Oh, yes. Looking at the clock on the wall, I have to say goodbye to you because we got to get down there and get those tables up and everything ready for that big dinner tonight. Those of you that are bringing your food, be sure and have it down there by 6 o'clock. And you will be there, won't you, Mrs. Hunter?
I will be there. I just told you I removed my pie from
Okay, well, get your pie out the oven and get on down to 1500 Northeast 4th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Okay?
I'll be right there.
Okay, but stay tuned to the Clara Luper radio show. Okay, thank you.
Bye now.
The ABC Upholstery Company is located at 1933 Northwest 39th Street. If you want something different, something that you can afford, why don't you get your furniture upholstered by that expert, Mr. Percy Howard? Call 524-7137. That's at 1933 Northwest 39th Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. This is Clara Luper's day, and we better talk about Clara Luper. Can you imagine somebody from Hoffman, Oklahoma having a day? Clara Luper's day. Oh, I was so happy to see my relatives out there. When I saw Nadine Henderson, Pat, and that group, I knew that things were really on the ball. Yes, my relatives were there, my students, all of my people were there. In fact, everybody there was my people. My people were there today. And certainly Reverend Parker would say, my people were there. Reverend Carroll, oh yes, it's true. All of our people were there today. And you will always be in the midst when anything that will make America a better country, then you should have been there. So some of you tomorrow will go to church and you will sing, were you there when they crucified my Lord? I'm going to ask you, were you there when the people marched against the injustices that existed at Tinker Air Force Base? What do we want? We want fair and equal treatment for all Tinker Air Force Base employees. We want to meet face-to-face with the commanding officer of Tinker Air Force Base. Now, tomorrow and on Monday, I want all of you to call the commanding officer at Tinker Air Force Base and ask him, why is it that he will not meet with the committee? This is a United States Air Force general. This is not a general in some country where you can't communicate. They tell me that in some countries, under the form of government they have, you cannot call your general and ask him to sit down. But this is the United States of America, and we feel we have that right. Now, some way and somehow, we've got to get this over to the general. And I know those of you that saw this parade today, you can tell the general that it's more than 3 people talking. You can tell the general that people came in here from all over this great state of Oklahoma. Now, it's simple. We want promotions based on justice and not favoritism. We want the jobs back for those blacks that have been fired because of segregation and discrimination. We want Tinker Air Force Base to listen and respond positively to our needs. We want our black supervisors out there, as few as they are, to realize that they aren't there because of any special reason, and they are no better than the other people that's at the bottom of the totem pole. We want our black supervisors to understand that segregation is wrong, whether it's coming from a black mouth or a white mouth. And we will march against prejudiced black people as quickly as we will march against prejudiced white people. Now let me set the record straight. Today we marched on Tinker Field, and I had someone from Oklahoma University to call and ask me a silly question. Why are y'all marching? And I want to ask the students out in Oklahoma University, why aren't you marching? How many black deans do you have at Oklahoma University or Oklahoma State University or Central State University? I want to ask you young people who say you haven't come in contact with segregation, how many heads of departments in your universities are black? I want to ask you. Now, some of you have called me and say, well, I've got to help Oral Roberts. That's great. I don't mind you helping Oral Roberts. Many of you sent money so he didn't have to die. But I can say one thing, and I want to say it loud. I think Oral Roberts should also help us by participating in some of our marches. It's just as fair for Oral Roberts to help us as it is for people to help Oral Roberts. Now, if I've stepped on your toes, I am sorry. But the day must come, if people would support the black churches like they have some others, you would see some great changes, because the black churches have to operate on limited budgets. And now that I didn't see my white ministers today, and I know many of them are taking up money for foreign mission, I would like to appeal to the white ministers to help us. Get in your pulpit tomorrow and talk about segregation and discrimination must go. And you can be specific. You can say Tinker Air Force Base, and if you know of any other spots, you can also say that segregation must go. And I think the white churches should send missionaries into the northeast section of Oklahoma City if this is a section that needs help, and it certainly is. Why can't they? Building missions all over the world and afraid to come to the northeast side? What kind of God are you serving? I think if the God of the universe would take care of you in Africa or South America or Nicaragua, he will certainly take care of you on the east side of Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Call me at 478-2103 and let me hear what you are thinking, because tonight Calvin Luper is going to be the guest speaker, and you're going to hear a speech. Calvin Luper will be the guest speaker tonight at 7 o'clock. There will be a special by the NAACP Youth Council. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and this portion of our show is brought to you by Calvin Luper and Bert Luper, who are your electricians. If you want your electrical work done in a hurry, call 239-2678, 424-3785. I do have a renter's column. We do have a 1-bedroom house for rent, a 2-bedroom house for rent that's listed on the Clara Luper radio show, and we have a 3-bedroom house for rent. Now, if you are moving into Oklahoma City, if you're not happy in your apartment and you want a yard of your own and you want a home in a quiet neighborhood, call Garfield 424-3790. Call right now, 424-3790. Call now. Ask for Mrs. Brown. That's Garfield 43790. If you would like a nice 3-bedroom home in a nice, quiet neighborhood, call Garfield 43790. I know that you are all excited about tonight, but let me tell you about tomorrow. Tomorrow is Doc Williams' Day. It's a time that we stop and give thanks to the God of the universe for the progress that we have made. We will stop and give thanks to God for the friends that we have made through the years. And we thank God that we are Americans, living in a country where we can protest. And tomorrow's message at the Providence Church of the Nazarene will be delivered by Reverend C.C. Carroll, the pastor of the Emmanuel Baptist Church, at 3 p.m. And have climbed the ladder of success. And we need more than anything else to point to some of our success stories. Langston Hughes wrote, "Someday somebody will write about me. Someday somebody will talk about me. Someday somebody will put on plays about me." Then Langston Hughes realized the reality of the situation and said, "It will be me, myself." I'm only saying that so many times people overlook people in this community that are really making a contribution. But some way and somehow, somebody's going to have to write about those people. If you are one of the honorees, we want you there tomorrow at exactly 3:20. Our program will start at 3:30, and it will be a program that you will be proud of. Now, what time is the dinner? The dinner is at 7 o'clock. My telephone number is 478-2103. Maybe all of you will enjoy water tonight. Maybe you don't want anything to drink at the big dinner tonight. I do have here with me our special reporter, Shelley Marie Luper Wilson. And here she is. Shelley.
Hello.
Well, hello, Shelley. How are you?
Fine, and you?
I understand that you have already enrolled in school. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, what school will you be attending this year?
Northeast High School.
Why did you select Northeast High School?
Because I'm in the biomedical program, and Northeast High School is where it is held.
Okay, what do you know about Northeast High School? Do you know who the principal is?
Yes, Miss Joyce Henderson, one of your past students.
You are right. She played the leading role in the Harriet Tubman story, and she's out of that fabulous class of leaders. What will you be taking this year?
I will be taking biology, physical education, English, Oklahoma, history and government, and Latin.
I know you must be excited about that. Can you wait till the first day of school?
No.
And you will really be excited about going to school?
Yes.
Do you think you are ready for the 9th grade?
Yes.
You think you are ready. Why do you think you are ready?
Because I'm ready.
Oh, because you're ready. Well, Shelley, I don't know about your becauses, whether you're ready or not. I have another beautiful young lady here. And your name, please?
Nate Patterson.
Nate Patterson, do you realize school is starting next week? Are you ready for school?
Yes, I am.
Are you excited about going to school?
Yes.
What grade are you in?
Fourth. Fifth.
Are you in the 4th grade or are you in the 5th?
Fifth.
Okay, where will you be going to school next year? I mean this year, next week. A week after next.
Capitol Hill Middle School.
You will be in Capitol Hill Middle School. Don't you think you're going to get lost over there with all of those middle school students?
No.
Do you feel that you are ready for school?
Yes.
Okay. Why do you feel you are ready for school?
Because I'm ready to meet new people and learn new things.
Oh, you're ready. Well, I'm ready too. I am ready for my students. I know I am ready for my students. I know that. And I'm looking forward to having the smartest students that I've ever had. Now, all of you students that want to work hard, be sure and enroll in Clara Luper's class. If you don't want to work,
don't worry, don't enroll in Clara Luper's class because it will be some confusion, some educational confusion. And I'm sure that all of the teachers are saying that. Now the parents have had the kids all of the summer, and I know you have done your job. You've taught your children well this summer, and there should be no disciplinary problems in the Oklahoma City school system. Now, if we have anybody out there who's not interested in going to school, I want you to call me because I want to tell you that we are preparing now for the 21st century. And unless you have technical and educational skills, you are going to have a serious problem. How do you go to school? Well, one thing about it, you go to school. Now, everybody, I would like to give you young people some advice. The classes are held in the classroom and not in the bathrooms and the hallways. So those of you that are planning on walking the halls, let's change your plan because the learning will be taking place in the classroom, and you don't want to be you want to be where the learning is. So therefore, we have that straight. The next thing, when you come to school, you've got to take something to work with, and you don't need those music boxes or your music boxes. You don't need that at school. What you need is and you do have money because you go everywhere you want to go. Be sure and buy you some supplies and be prepared. Be prepared to take your place in the top educational people in this state. So this is a year that I want you to start out on A row and stay there all the year. Show your teachers how smart you are because I've seen you young people dance, and anybody can move like you can move through algebra, through physics, through chemistry. You can do it. Clara Luper reporting for Behold the Walls by Clara Luper, a book that's good for you. This is a book that tells it just like it happened. My telephone number is 478-2103. It's time now to get ready for dinner tonight. I just have to keep talking about my dinner. And somebody say, Clara Luper, you're always talking about what you do. You are exactly right. This is the Clara Luper Radio Show, and it's being made possible by Enterprise Square Place, a place where you can save money, gasoline, and time. You can save it all at Enterprise Square Place. Oh, what a deal. You will be glad you did. You will be happy that you went to 4901 North Martin Luther King Avenue to a place called Enterprise Square Place, a first-class place, a place where you are safe at last. You can pay your utility bills. You can make use of a bona fide United States Post Office. You can use the laundromat and the laundry. You can also go to Sherry's Cleaners. Sherry's Cleaners, where quality really counts. At Sherry's Cleaners, you can put your clothes in the cleaners today, and certainly you can get them the next day. And incidentally, Mr. and Mrs. Carlos Williams and Reginald will be attending that Clara Luper dinner tonight. And we would like to say a special hello to Carlis Williams, who's among those hundreds of students at Langston University, and wish her a lot of success. Yes, go to Sherry's Cleaners and be sure and tell her that you heard it on the Clara Luper Radio Show. This is a time, and I want to hear from Dr. A.L. Dial. Dr. A.L. Dial is our optometrist located at 934 Northeast 8th Street. His telephone number is 235-0536. Now, this is Clara Luper's Day, and I think that since this is Clara Luper's Day, and since Clara Luper represents all of you, because this is a day that all of you are involved, and I saw one of my dear darlings, Virginia Orange, and she said to me, Miss Luper, I'm here. I said, you had better be here, because if you were not here, I certainly would have spanked you. You know you're supposed to be here today, and you have to be here. Oh, certainly I would like to join, and Senator Porter and Reverend Parker has asked me to be sure and say thank you to all of you that participated, because you participated today by the hundreds, and we are very, very grateful. We are very grateful. Not because I fussed at some of my white friends, and certainly some of my best friends are white, but you couldn't tell it today because they were not there. But I know that my
good white friends are going to come out and they are going to join hands with us and help to solve the problem of America. Now, segregation is not a black problem, it's an American problem, and it's going to take blacks and whites working together to do it. Now, many of you cannot come to the dinner, but you want to be represented, and you have asked me, how can you be represented? Oh, it's so simple. You can send your donation to the NAACP Youth Council, Post Office Box 11106 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. That zip is 73111. You want to help the young NAACPers. Send your donation, those of you who aren't able to come to the dinner tonight, to Post Office Box 11106, Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. The area code is 7311. Make 111. Make your check payable to the NAACP Youth Council. Well, I can see Mrs. Wonder Green now getting those vegetables ready. Mrs. Fred Factory working on those vegetables. Well, everything will be ready, and we'll be ready for that big dinner. Dr. A.L. Dow. Oh, I'm just waiting for my congratulations on the Clara Luper's day from my optometrist.
This morning.
You saw the parade?
Yes, I did.
How many automobiles? Am I telling the truth?
How many? They just kept going by, just kept going. And so many were enthusiastic, and it really made me feel good to see that many people who had the courage to express their concern about the economic welfare of their neighbor. And this is a wonderful thing. And again, we must take hats off to Senator Porter and you for leading this drive, because we'll never have this success economically or academically or otherwise until we're sure that we have some concern for ourselves. And this was a wonderful thing to show that we are still interested in going forward.
Well, somebody said that these marches were not going to do any good, and I said, one thing, Mr. Black Brother, you sure not eating downtown before there was some marches.
That's true. That's true. They will do good. We have to have marches until we can sit down to the table of negotiation. And they will not sit down and negotiate, as I heard Senator Porter relate on the program last week, I believe it was, where they tried to get the people at Tinkerfield to talk to them. They didn't even want to talk, and they said if they did talk, they had to bring the number of people to come and sit down and counsel the number that they designate. Why, I shouldn't designate the number of the people that you...
And not only that, Doctor, they wanted to designate the people that were going to participate.
That's right, and this is bad. And we are far from being out of the woods of segregation. We're in the wilderness of segregation. We're going to stay here until we ourselves become concerned not only about our individual problem, but the problem of our neighbor. And if he can't be successful, then we certainly won't be successful. But we all must go as one and work united in a united way.
As we celebrate the Freedom Fiesta, and as we have saluted so many of our people that have participated, what is the most vivid thing do you remember about the sit-ins?
The most vivid things about the sit-ins, oh, there's so many stories I could tell, but I'll tell you the truth. I was stunned when I had read in the paper the first morning after you and that group of students went down to Greens. And it was a challenge. And you have always been one who would challenge an issue regardless. And you led the way. And this is what is needed. I can remember that now so strongly. And that's the thing that tells me that whenever you decide that you must do something, that something must be done, you've always had that way of going about it. The mountain is never too high. You found a way to get around to the other side, whether you had to go over the top or around the edges. And what I'm really trying to say, you've always stood for doing what you felt needed to be done, regardless how difficult it might seem. Now, I can't say exactly. There were so many strong invigorating feelings I got from the early sit-ins. But unless we had, if we had not opened the doors of the restaurants at that time, the hotels of that time, and other public accommodations, we'd still be just as we have always been, low in economics, low in education, and on the short end of every other freedom that the Lord said that we should have.
Dr. Dow, you're my favorite optometrist, and I am able to read now because you've just given me the kind of glasses that I really need. What are your office hours?
Well, my office hours, Ms. Luper, is from 9 in the morning until 5 in the evening.
Now, there's been some questions about the parents of the kids that get special government aid. Could you explain that to my audience?
Well, now, some of the parents can't understand why their children can get glasses free, and they can. But the government will only permit you to get the glasses up until you're 21. And after you're 21, then you'll have to pay. Now, there are some situations where there are persons who are over the age of 21 who can get glasses. If they are going to school, what we call rehabilitation, or if they're taking special courses and pursuing a job that requires reading skills and all that sort of thing, then the government will make an exception and get glasses for those persons. However, if you're up in the years and still need glasses because of senility and presbyopia and all that sort of thing, then what they will do is Medicare will take care of the glasses for you. There is a way that adult people can get eyeglasses if they are receiving Medicare.
So if I'm on Medicare, I can come down and get some glasses free?
Yeah, they will pay for it. The government will pay the largest portion, about 80%.
80%?
Yes.
Well, I don't see why anybody's sitting around complaining, saying that they cannot see and the government will pay for 80% of your glasses.
That's right.
If you're on Medicare.
That's right.
And if you're a child and your parents are receiving some kind of assistance, you're saying that they can get the glasses free?
That's right. Just come into the office with the card or credentials that show that you're receiving this aid, and they will let you have the glasses.
Well, there are some children that have not been doing well in school. It could be because they can't see.
Well, so many times the people, adults, are backwards to a great extent. And I say backwards in this sense. They fail because the child is a child and he's young. Well, he doesn't need glasses. But they are so wrong. Young people often need glasses more so than adults. And the only way that you can't look at a person and say you can't see. There are very few cases where you can do that. But usually you have to examine the person and get an analysis of what their visual ability is. Go through the visual skills and the various tests that are given. Then you can find out whether or not the child can see. Oftentimes a child can see perfectly, but their eyes don't coordinate. And they still have a problem because their eyes aren't coordinating and they have a strain.
So anyway, if I'm on any kind of assistance, I can bring my child in and get his or her eyes examined free?
Free of charge.
Okay, I'm on my way, Dr. Dow.
All right.
And certainly I know that people really appreciate what you're saying, and I'll see you at that big dinner. I'll see you at that big dinner tonight.
And let me say this, Miss Luper, and often I pray for you, and I want others to pray for you, because you've been a Moses in our time. You won't be appreciated until after you've passed away.
Oh, wait a minute now, Dr. Dow. Now, I want people to appreciate me before I die, because, when I die, they won't get to read those resolutions.
Yes, but then they're going to say, oh, she was a nice person.
Well, let's say it tonight, and I don't have anything for my dinner guests to drink tonight. Let somebody bring something on down to 1500 Northeast 4th Street so we can have some punch or what have you.
Well, I just wanted to make this statement publicly that you have really been a source of strength where I'm concerned. You've been a strong source of support And the Lord, I thank the Lord that you were brought to Oklahoma City. I thank him because your path and mine crossed. And you and Senator Porter have done such a wonderful job for your fellow man. And I just pray that you will last, your lives will be rich and happy and full of greatness because you've done so much for others. At the same time, you were sacrificing yourself.
Thank you so very kindly.
Thank you, and may the Lord bless you continuously.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
The telephone number is 478-2103, and we are talking about Clara Luper. On Clara Luper's Day, we're talking about that big dinner tonight. We're talking about the March for Freedom that took place today against segregation and discrimination. Remember the ABC Upholstery Company, a company that is growing, a company that's expanding, and certainly by expanding, this company was able to do what so many of us wanted to do, and that is to grow. And because the company has grown, they need your continuous support. That's the ABC Upholstery Company here in Oklahoma City, located at 1933 Northwest 39th Street. The telephone number is 524-7137. Burger Brothers congratulate us on our day, and thank you so very, very kindly. Burger Brothers located at 412 South Harvey Street here in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. We're preparing now for the big day, the big evening, the big dinner. The dinner will take place in the next 45 minutes or 50 minutes. Calvin Luper will be our guest speaker. There will be a special presentation by the NAACP Youth Council and advisors. We would like to take this opportunity to thank you. We would like to thank you for your cakes, your pies, your vegetables, your salads. And I would like to thank you for the drinks that you are going to bring tonight. I would like to thank those of you that have paid $20 to help the NAACP Youth Council. I would like to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and I want you to know that I'm very grateful. And for those of you that say that it couldn't be done, I want you to come to the dinner to see that it's being done. And for those of you that marched today, I know you feel good. I know your feet are tired, but I know that your souls are happy. 29 years ago, we marched against segregation in public accommodations. The long march, which continued for 4 years, and during those 4 years' time, we had some dark days. It was not surprising to see Cecil Williams, the president of the NAACP, the state president there, because he had had years of experience in marching. But 29 years later, we marched against racial discrimination according to over 100 documented cases at Tinker Air Force Base. By documented cases, I mean these people have written down exactly what happened to them, what time it happened, when it happened, and who was involved. And now we are crying out for fair and equal treatment for all Tinker Air Force Base employees. And if the President of the United States can send protection for the ships through the Persian Bay, he can certainly give protection to his own citizens that are suffering from racial discrimination. I want you, and I want you to join in this fight. We all need to be in it. Next week is a week that we're going to call the commanding officer of Tinker Air Force Base. And I want you to call. I want him to talk to you. I know one thing, that the eyes of the world are on Tinker Air Force Base. I would be ashamed to be a supervisor and follow a worker in the restroom. Now, if I were a worker if I were working at Tinker Air Force Base and you followed me in the restroom, you would be in some serious trouble. And I'm very sincere because there are some questions. Why would a man follow another man in the restroom? The next question, why would a man peep in the restroom to see what a woman is doing? Now, if I had been in a restroom and a man peeped in the restroom while I was there, I would have screamed. And I'm not going to tell you what I would say. And you peeping supervisors, I'm going to try to get your name because I want the world to know the name of a supervisor that will follow another man to the restroom. Reverend Lawrence explained the struggle today as only one that has been through the struggle can explain. And certainly I would like to double congratulate him. I would also like to congratulate those marshals today. Mr. Williamson, Mr. Ron Williamson from Midwest City was a head marshal today, and he did a terrific job. That march was nearly perfect. No profanity, no violence, just marching for freedom. But as I look at the clock on the wall, I know another chapter has been written in the history of the NACP Youth Council. And I know my beautiful niece, Clarissa Douglas, was there today marching in spite of the fact that she had a big birthday yesterday. And certainly I would like to say happy birthday to Clarissa. But I would also like to say happy birthday to our Freedom Fiesta. 29 years of struggling for freedom. And as we bring it to an end, tonight we will have our final dinner. Tomorrow it will be our worship service at the Providence Church of the Nazarene at 3:30 p.m. where Reverend C.C. Carroll will be speaking. And tonight, whereas the dinner will be held at the Jimmy Stewart's building. And I would like to say a special thanks to Mrs. Alice Strain, Mrs. Esther Watson, who, in spite of being unsung heroes of the movement, they continue to do their part. You ask me why I did not call your name. Let me ask you, why didn't you do something so I could call your name? Now as we leave you by thanking God for the progress that we have made, and by calling upon all of us, black, white, red, and polka dot, to join in the struggle for freedom. I'll see you tonight at the big dinner. This is Clara Luper saying, whatever happens, remember one thing. You are in it too, and that goes for you too, Mr. Perry, and those of you that did not participate. Clara Luper reporting.
Frank, who owns this turbocharger?
We know what it means to be poor, and we know the excitement of a hamburger or a slice of potato pie. We know the beauty of flowers. Yes, we know the strength of rocks. And we know one thing. More than anything else, now we are convinced. Since I've seen you, I've been from the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean to the bottom of the Caribbean Sea. Been up above the sky. And I know that there's a God somewhere. And only God could make the fish, the sky, yes, the waters. And God has prevented and given me another opportunity to tell you how much I want you to succeed. I want you to succeed. And those of you that would like to be a part of the Clara Luper radio show, all you have to do is call 424-3949. And as I look at the clock on the wall, I know it's time to say goodbye. And remember, tell your friends about the Freedom Fiesta. And don't forget that Clara Luper old-fashioned banquet. And call me and tell me what you will prepare. Bye-bye.